Guru Nation, welcome back to another episode. We got a very special one. Emmanuel Egberare. I got that right. It's a miracle already. We're off to a good start. Emmanuel is somebody who's been not a student. People say you only put your students on. That's not fair. No, I don't. Nonsense, guys. I put on way more people I talk to that are not students than students. My students get hired, then they forget about me. Emmanuel, Instagram follower, Guru Nation follower. He just direct messaged me the other day. Hey, man, I'm an international medical graduate. All of a sudden, all the international medical graduate coming out of the woodwork. Everybody coming out because I think they're starting to realize about research. You know, once you figure out, okay, research, like, I don't know your story, Emmanuel. That's why we're going to interview you. But a lot of IMGs, they immigrate either to Canada or United States, and they're frustrated because, and I know my own dad was one. He was IMG. He actually ended up getting his boards and going through ECFMG and all that stuff. But a lot don't, and they get frustrated because it's like, I'm a doctor, but here I can't use my education. But they don't know about research, because research you can. So what's your story, Emmanuel? Like, can you give us like a background of everything, Canada,
Okay.
everything, IMG, everything?
Okay, that's good. First of all, thank you so much for, the honor to be on this show and platform. I've been a Guru Nation follower for a bit. I've been following your videos on YouTube and all your social media, platforms. So you're doing a great job. My name is Emmanuel, like you already know. I'm from Nigeria. I had my bachelor's of medicine back home in Nigeria, and then I've been practicing medicine for a bit. And then recently I relocated to Canada. And on getting to Canada, you discover that the licensing process is pretty different. Like every other country, right? You have to go through, various licensing exams to get board certified to practice medicine in the country. But then on getting here, I discovered that there are not jobs or platforms that, or how would I put it, your degree wasn't really accepted. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say your degree wasn't accepted, but now, pending the time you get licensed to practice medicine, the biggest question is what are you going to be doing, right? So there's a term in Canada called survival jobs. So this is what most IMGs would do, while writing their,
What's the
licensing
term?
exam.
What's the term called?
Survival jobs, you
Okay.
know. Yeah. So and survival jobs would range from, the drive Uber, work in the warehouse, basically doing non-professional jobs,
The
and
gig,
not
the gig economy.
exactly jobs that you really wouldn't use your medical degree, right? So, and not until recently I discovered after watching your program, right, your show, I started discovering that okay, research is a thing that I could do, and I don't really have to do so much, and my degree is actually valid, in this
It's
space.
definitely value. Now, you're a
Yeah,
CRC3, so let's
yeah.
talk about that. But first, how long did it take you from discovering my videos to getting the job? And I'm not going to let you go without explaining how you did it. Because everybody,
Yeah,
especially in Canada, Emmanuel, people are
yeah.
asking this question.
So clinical research, right, like right now, is buzzing, right? This is like a special time to be in the field with all that is going on.
Booming, booming.
Exactly. So how let me just trace my steps back. I enrolled in a course, an online course for clinical research here in Canada. And then after two classes, it basically opened my eyes to the world of clinical research.
I see.
Even though, like, back home, I was involved in a lot of investigator initiated research, right? But it was more like observational studies where you're trying to track track a particular disease progression, which you publish in a journal or something, but not really pharmaceutical related sponsored research, right? So after joining this class, after 2 episodes of the class, it opened my eye to the possibilities of clinical research. And then on my own, I started doing some personal research into the world of clinical research. And then I went on YouTube, and that's when I found your page.
I see.
And then I found the 5-hour video that basically gives you a whole rundown of everything clinical research. After watching the 5-hour video, I started applying for jobs, right? So I basically fine-tuned my resume and started, applying to jobs on Indeed, on LinkedIn, basically all channels where you could have postings for clinical research positions. And then I got like 5 or 6 interviews. And then I recently got hired.
Wow. How long did it take from applying until getting hired? Like, what was the time frame?
So I would say I started applying in, say, August, and then I got my position, my most recent position, in October. So I would say August, September. So roughly about 2.5 months, right?
That's nothing. That's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for you, wasn't that difficult?
No, it wasn't.
The process.
It wasn't difficult, I would say. I think a lot of it was I was just being proactive, because right now, I spoke to someone recently, and they're like, "Oh, do I have to wait to finish the course before I start applying?" Or I'm like, "No, it's all about you." I didn't even guess what? When I even applied, I didn't even have my certificate from the course, right? I had not even finished the course. So,
I don't understand why people think they need permission for everything. Like, who's gonna give you permission? It's your life.
Absolutely. So for me, it was more like I just took the bull by the horn and just ran with it. And I would say luck was on my side, and
a little bit, but also the IMG was on your side, because I think IMG make perfect coordinator, and then coordinators make perfect CRA. But the problem with a lot of IMGs, I've hired many. I love IMGs, but the problem with a lot of them, not the majority, but a lot of them, is that they're doctors where the countries they come from. I've worked with IMGs from Vietnam, from India, everywhere, right? Mexico, everywhere. 80% of them, no problem. They're normal. They're like you, 20%, they're like, they have this attitude. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a doctor. I know more than you do. But then they don't know even an informed consent how to do it. So it's like, I understand you're a doctor, but you can't be a PI here. So you have to be a coordinator here.
I think it's that whole. I understand, and I agree with what you're saying. You just have to understand that you have to separate your identity. How will I put it? You just have to segmentalize your identity and understand that, okay, in this space, you're not a doctor in this space, right? You're not a PI, because only physicians can actually be PIs, right? So I'm like, you just have, it happens. But for me, it was never a problem, because I understood what I was getting involved in. I understood the role I was going to play, and I understood my space. So, and I basically sold myself to get positions within the space I know I could function with.
So what do you do? You're absolutely right. And I think when the employers know this too, when they look at and start interviewing IMGs, they look at attitude, ability to work well with others, very important, because no one can take away from you that you're a doctor, right? But in the role we're hiring for, we already have a doctor. We don't need you to be that doctor. We need you to be a coordinator. It's very good. You can have educated conversations with our PI. That's great. And PIs love IMGs, coordinators. PIs love. When I had those, I told you 80% great IMGs, 20% horrible. My PIs didn't care if they were great or horrible. They loved all of them.
Just because you end up like most PIs love it because you can relate on the same level. You can
Yeah,
have same conversations, and
yeah.
so it's interesting.
I couldn't
Right
even
now, my
fire the ones I didn't like because PI loved them. So I was like, I gotta work with these guys. I gotta work. What I
I
did,
know.
I helped them. I helped them become CRAs fast. The ones I didn't like,
Okay.
hey, go be CRA. It worked too. It worked too. A few of them actually got their license now in the States practicing. They're
Oh,
good
nice.
people at the end of the day. But so what is CRC3? Like what is that and what kind of organization do you work for?
So I work for the Prostate Cancer Center in Canada,
Wow.
and so
Were you doing oncology in Nigeria?
yes, I had done some oncology, observational studies. So,
Wow, okay.
but then again, like I said earlier, getting the job wasn't really about being a doctor, or it really wasn't about my experience. At the end of the day, I like I said to people right now, because a lot of people have been buzzing me lately, like, "Hey, how did you do it? I'm interested. Can you show me the way and stuff?" And I tell people, I'm like, when a good CV only gets you in front of the interviewer, right? But then for you to get the job, you need to really sell yourself. And then you need to sell those transferable skills that the interviewer is looking for. First of all, they're not interviewing for the role of a physician. So they're trying to assess so many things, how good a team player you are, if you can work, with an organization. And first of all, how comfortable you are, doing a lot of, documentation and your attention to details and all of that. So I'm like, at the end of the day, it's all boils down to how much you sell yourself, how you present yourself. And then also, if you've done your research about the industry you're trying to play in and the role you're trying to occupy. So I had done my own research. Thankfully, I had done a lot of reading. Your videos and so many other videos of yours that I watched were enough information for me to get an idea of what it works, how it works. I tell you something. Prior to applying for jobs, I didn't have any idea about the difference between a CRC and a
A lot of people
CRA.
don't. A lot of people
So
don't.
I had no clue. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, a coordinator is higher than an associate. So I'm like, okay. So I started, I was thinking a coordinator was higher than an associate. So I was applying for associate roles initially. Not until I watched your video and how you dissected the difference between both roles, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been getting it
Man,
all wrong.
the terminology is confusing too because uh CRA might mean clinical research assistant, might mean clinical research
Exactly.
administrator, CTA.
So,
People don't know. One person yesterday on YouTube asked me, "What's a clinical research nurse?" And I told them this somebody that's a nurse works at a site, and then she said, "Okay, so how is that different from a CRA?" And because they're confused because I tell them that nurses make good CRAs. So now they're
yeah,
confused that a clinical research nurse is a CRA. It's like, look, guys, sponsor CRO site. Think of it that way. That makes it
yeah,
simple. That makes it simple right
true,
there.
true. And yeah, so after that, I started applying for CRC positions when I got to understand, and I got quite a. The response was good. I had like 4 interviews. Um, The remaining 3 of them were not in my location, so they required me to move from my state to another state. So a lot of factors were in play there. But thankfully, I got one in my own city, in my own state, and it just was the best offer I could get. So I'm just thankful for that.
Emmanuel, are you on LinkedIn?
I was on LinkedIn, but I disappeared for a bit. But I'm gonna be back soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't find you. So just in case people want to reach out to you, should I just send them to your
Okay.
Instagram?
Yeah, you can send them to my Instagram. That's fine. Yeah.
All right. Emmanuel's Instagram underneath the show notes here. So just as we wrap up, Maybe walk us through a typical day of a CRC3. Is that the most
Um,
advanced CRC 1, 2, and 3 at your organization?
yes.
Okay.
CRC3, I think, is pretty much the same with every other CRC role. What you're doing is you're basically the lead coordinator for most of the studies, right? Um, you're starting with the responsibility of doing CRC stuff. You're recruiting patients into the study. You're doing ICFs, and then following up for with the patients for every visit. And then when they come, you get to see them and do all the documentation, and also you're in charge of doing everything about EDC, increasing all the data and all of that. And then as a CRC3, I also get to do QIs, so or QAs rather. Let me call it QAs, right? So just trying to vet to make sure that everything is on point, and so that when we do get an audit or before the monitors come, making sure that everything is on point, and then also overseeing the other, coordinators, and just like an
Wow.
advanced CRC position, basically.
Pretty soon. I mean, do you want to be a CRA?
I really would like to be a CRA pretty soon. So right now, I just like trying to give myself some time to
Yeah.
just work on the CRC
Yeah, you just
position.
got hired, so yeah.
Exactly. So once I get my foot in really well, and I'm also trying to learn a lot more within the organization about
Yeah.
regulatory stuff, the ethics stuff. Once I get all that and also get a PMP certification alongside, I intend
Ah,
to move up the
PMP.
ladder. Yeah.
That's good. There's a guy, clinical trial podcast. Abish is his name. He's a project manager for used to be for AbbVie. I think it's for biotech now, but I just interviewed him a few months ago. He's really knowledgeable
So
about project management. That's tough. PM is tough. Um, but it sounds like you can do it, Emmanuel. So thank
good.
you so
Good.
much for coming on, sharing another example of an IMG. And for him, it was quick, guys. 2 months. He watched video, 2 months, he's CRC3. Right. So Emmanuel can do it, but he's humble. He knows that he's not being hired to be a doctor, but it is an advantage that he is one. That's the difference, guys. All right, take it from me. No one can take away your MD degree if you're an IMG, but you got to know your role when you go apply places, and then when you start working places. You got to know your role. And that then it works well for you, because in research, a lot of options, a lot of directions you can go, and there's definitely a place for IMGs. We need more IMGs in the industry. So now, Emmanuel, you're gonna tell all your IMG friends, and now you're gonna get a lot on Instagram messaging
That's
you. Say, hey man, help me get in. So everybody, reach out to Emmanuel on Instagram. I follow him now, and we look forward to doing more interviews with you later on, Emmanuel. Keep me posted. Now I follow you, so
sure.
we'll be in touch on there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on the show, though. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for watching and listening. And reach out to me or Emmanuel anytime. Take care.